Hello, friends. This is Innocent Magaji back to you again with another section of the podcast. Well, right now, what I have is a case of Biafra. That was a statement made by an individual, a very prominent, person that made a statement about Biafra. So I will not waste much of your time. I'll just go straight and read the news for you. This is a blog that was posted earlier. Okay, so if you are interested and if you're support of what we're doing, please kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel to support us if you are, because we'll keep bringing you more gist, more update on what we're doing and latest news. Okay, please kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel, leave your comment, leave your like. Thank you. I promise to keep you updated, so this is it. Today is about Biafra, as you can see. The case for Biafra is stronger than South Sudan, Kosovo, U.S. constitutional lawyer, right? And this is his face, as you can see. And his name is just written down here below, constitutional attorney Bruce Fein, okay? Biafra, dominated by the Great Igbo race, enjoyed sovereignty before Great Britain commenced exploitative colonial rule over Nigeria under the racist banner of Rudyard Kipling, the white man's burden. Britain asserted authority over Biafra based on the tyrannical doctrine that the strong do what they can and the weak suffer what they must. The Berlin West Africa Conference 1884 to 1885 and the Berlin General Act symbolizes colonial lawlessness by treating Africa as a carcass to be divided among European vultures. Restoration of Biafra's sovereignty is justified under international law and practices, especially with the ongoing ethnic-inspired killing and persecution of Biafra by Nigerian elected military dictator from the north, touting Sharia law, President Muhammadu Buhari. Biafra's sovereignty journey will require depth international diplomacy and the marshalling of widespread popular support from Biafrans and their resources. Power is never voluntarily surrendered. Rights ultimately are what you are willing to fight and die for. Prior to British colonization in 1906, the Great Igbo people to the east of Niger, numbering some 3 million, and their cognate tribes enjoyed decentralized self-government. They were not living in a state of nature. Their self-rule came by force of arms, not voluntarily. In 1900, the British government assumed responsibility for the Royal Niger Company territories and formed the Protectorate of Northern Nigeria, the Niger Coast Protectorate, and the Lagos Colony Protectorate territories. 1913 witnessed the amalgamation of Nigeria into 3 administrative areas, the Crown Colony of Lagos and the Protectorate of Northern and Southern Nigeria. In 1960, Britain ended its colonization of Nigeria without reference to the Igbo or any other peoples of Nigeria entitled to self-determination. The Nigeria Independence Act established Nigeria territorial boundaries not by popular referendum or other reliable manifestation of self-determination of people, but according to the Nigerian Orders in Council 1954 to 1960. They reflected British self-maneuvers to dominate Nigeria economically. Britain's failure to offer Biafra the right to self-determination violated the United Nations General Assembly Declaration on the granting of independence to colonial countries and people adopted on the 14th December 1960. Paragraph 5 of the declaration required that immediate steps be taken by the colonial power to transfer all powers to the people of those colonized territories in accordance with their freely expressed will and desire in order to enable them to enjoy complete independence and freedom. The 1970 Declaration on Principles of International Law concerning friendly relations and cooperation among states in accordance with the Charter of the United Nations emphasized that by virtue of the principle of equal right and self-determination of people enshrined in the Charter of the United Nations, all people have the right freely to determine without external interference their political status. The people of Biafra, recognized as distinct by British colonial authority, were never provided an opportunity to vote for complete independence and freedom from the rest of Nigeria according to their freely expressed will and desire. They were never consulted on the subject when Nigeria became independent in 1960. Further, the 1960 Constitution of Nigeria was never approved by the people of Biafra in a referendum or otherwise, and neither has any subsequent Nigeria Constitution, including in the current revision decreed by military dictator 1999. In sum, the British decolonized Nigeria in violation of international law by failing to transfer power to the people of Biafra in accordance with their freely expressed will. That violation was not a technicality but an affront to a fundamental human right. All governments derive their just power from the consent of the governed. Consent is required to legitimate authority and to foster external subjugation, oppression, persecution, or even genocide fueled by tribal, sectarian, ethnic, or megalomaniacal ambition or hatred. After independence from Britain, Nigeria soon became a channel house for Biafra, deprived of their right to self-determination. They were left to the tender mercy of Hausa Fulani of the north and the Yoruba of the south in a unitary state and suited for its diverse tribal, ethnic, and religious landscape. The gruesome 1967-1970 Biafra War was emblematic. Ethnic-based massacre of Biafra and countless starving children who died as little more than skeleton was its grim face. The horrors suffered by Biafra gave birth to the first modern international relief effort to lessen unspeakable misery. At the war's conclusion, Nigeria's General Yakubu Gowon sloganed, "No victor, no vanquished." The war proved a cruel hoax. The Igbo were marginalized, persecuted as traitors, and subjected to a northern political yoke. Under incumbent Nigerian elected military dictator Buhari, the repression of the Igbo have reached new height, featuring indiscriminate killing, torture, and detention without trial. Last March, for instance, 13 Biafrans were murdered, their corpses burnt to ashes, and dumped in a borough pit located in the area of Aba Port Harcourt Road in Abia State by suspected Buhari agent. Last February, a team of Buhari Army, Navy, and police gunned down 22 Biafrans protesting Buhari detention of Biafra leader Prince Nnamdi Kanu. A complete chronicle of Buhari horror only will numb by repetition. The point is that there is no political remedy for Biafra suffering like an abused wife in a forced marriage, short of self-determination to regain its sovereignty that was illegally extinguished by the British and never surrendered after decolonization. States born from long-standing repression of people by ruling authorities are part of the woof and wap of international law or customs. Think of Bangladesh, Namibia, South Sudan, Zimbabwe, East Timor, Eritrea, Kosovo. The case for Biafra sovereignty is as stronger as this precedent. But to succeed, Biafra will need to organize, unify, and make their case to the United Nations Security Council, the United Nations Human Rights Council, the African Union, the European Union, and the United States. If they do not all hang together, they might all come to hang separately. Bruce Fein is an American constitutional lawyer and author. He tweeted from Bruce Fein's. All right, well, you have the reference, you can check it out. This is it. What do I think about this? I think the call for Biafra is a legitimate call. Okay, the people are clamoring. In fact, all Nigerians are Biafrans, because what are the Biafrans calling for? They are calling for justice. They are calling for a just society of lesser crime, of economic progress, of a good health care system, and food to eat, good roads. They are calling for simple things that every other Nigerian is calling for. A lot of people have diverse opinion about Biafra. Some other people are saying that they want, in fact, all Nigerians are suffering. It's not as if it's only Biafrans that are suffering. All Nigerians are suffering, and we have to identify our enemy. Our enemy is the Nigerian government and the Nigerian elite. They are the people sidelining all the citizens, trying to keep the money, divide the national cake among themselves, while leaving the masses starving, killing, and dying for them. This is what they do. So we have to identify our enemy. Our enemy is the Nigerian government. And for Biafra to succeed, I will first of all ask and question and advise most Biafrans, people that are clamoring for Biafra, to first of all unite among themselves. And if you want to succeed, first of all, create the basic need for yourself. So start by farming, making sure that food is available in your region, making sure that you have water for it, making sure that you have self-determined food-wise, making sure that transportation, because this thing, I'm not sure the North or the West, the Southwest are willing to surrender easily to give you land and oil, because they are, gaining from all these things. So you might end up in war. So you might end up getting cut off from food supply. So we don't want that to happen. So me, the only advice I will have for Biafra is to, first of all, start with basic need. What are the basic needs? Food, water, clean, good road. Start with that first of all. Start self-determination through that. Because right now, you're calling for political independence, but you're not calling for economic independence. And economic independence, nobody will give it to you. You have to take it yourself. You have to start it by yourself. Igbo people are already naturally entrepreneurial by nature. So that is a very good start. Just start investment in all these key critical areas. So economic independence, political independence, and cultural independence. Start with all those things. Start with the sociocultural independence, and then go on to start with economic independence. Then finally, you can have your political independence when yourself. An example of people like that are the Boers in South Africa. South Africa today is owned and controlled 80% of South Africa by white minorities. South Africa has a population of 54 million people, but only 400,000 people are controlling the entire country. The minority, they are the white. They own the estate, the zoos, the game reserves, and all those things. So start by empowering yourself. Even though black South Africans are in government, they are the ministers, they are how they own everything, but white South Africans control the economy. This is what I'm talking about. Igbos are strong and very hardworking people. You can start by creating such enterprise and not depend on you. In short, right now you're asking for the wrong thing. It's a misplaced priority right now. You don't need any political freedom. Right now, what you need is economic independence, and you can only take it by yourself by being self-sufficient in food provision and water. That's what you need to do. That is my opinion. Go ahead and leave your comment. Tell us what you think. Tell us how you feel about this. Is this justified? And if you support our channel, if you support the effort we're doing to keep you updated, kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you. Innocent Magaji signing out for Narrative Africa.